I want to move on to another topic. One of the biggest challenges that girls face globally is safety. Threats of war, kidnapping, rape, gangs, trafficking, and the physical difficulty of getting to school in environments like that can be so scary that many girls just simply decide they have no choice but to drop out. So we want to hear on that subject and others from students at the U.S. Embassy in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Singer, rapper, and VJ Vanessa Mdee is with girls in that country. Vanessa, hi. Can you tell us a little bit, we're great here. Can you tell us a little bit about safety concerns in Tanzania and how that changes life for girls and women there?
Thank you, Cindy. Hey, Mama Michelle, you look great.
Hey.
Hi. Okay, thanks for joining us in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, East Africa. You're right. A lot of young women and girls face very many safety concerns in this country. And it's unfortunate that they face and they're most vulnerable in the quest to better their lives. I'm seated with Nasra here, and she's going to give you more on this and also pose a question to you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Nasra Abdallah in Tanzania. I would like to start by thanking the Plan International and the U.S. Embassy for giving me this chance of honor to talk with you, the First Lady of the world and the global students.
I like that promotion. Thank you.
Okay. I'm a student. I'm in my ordinary level. I like reading novels and singing most of the times. And my dream is to become a doctor. It is true that girls in Tanzania face a safety problem. First is due to the traditional beliefs. Traditional really hinder the safety of the girls in Tanzania because there is this issue of female genital mutilation, whereby a private body part of a girl is removed. Most of the girls die due to excessive bleeding in this activity, and others acquire diseases such as HIV because the tools used aren't sterilized. And the ones which are circumcised, most of them drop out of school, ready to be married according to the traditional belief. So this really hinders the safety of the girls. And also long distance from home to school. This applies in all areas, rural and urban. Although in urban areas there are buses, but still there are some girls who walk. While on the way there are gangsters, there are rappers, so most of the girls get raped. Others are raped and others are being attacked by thieves, whereby others get pregnant and drop out of school. So safety in Tanzania is still a huge problem to girls. And other is early marriage, whereby parents marry girls in a very young age. At 12, you may find a girl already somebody's wife, maybe Mr. Dash wife, in the age of 12. And this is due to greediness of the parents for the, maybe let's say the bride price which is coming in. Or maybe is to maintain family friendship. Just because my father is a friend of, maybe let's say Frank's father, so I'm supposed to get married to Frank so that they can maintain their friendship. So this is really hindering the safety of the girls in Tanzania. And also I would like to pose a question to the Honorable First Lady of the world, Mrs. Obama. How did girl safety in Africa and other countries inspire you to start Let Girls Learn? Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of that information. It takes a level of courage and bravery to speak up and speak out and to talk about the challenges that are facing many girls in Africa and other parts of the world. And it's really stories like yours, stories like those that were the inspiration for me to start Let Girls Learn. Hearing about people like Malala Yousafzai, who was shot in the head by terrorists who didn't believe that a girl should not only not get an education, but speak out about the importance of girls getting educated. The girls in Nigeria that have been kidnapped and for the sheer desire to get an education. There are stories like these all over the world, and they are heartbreaking. So it was so important for me to hear these stories, to understand that we cannot tolerate millions and millions of girls being denied the access to improve themselves and the lives of their families by being essentially locked out of the education process. And that was really one of the primary reasons why we started Let Girls Learn. The other thing I always try to point out to girls who live in countries that do not have these issues, particularly in countries like the United States, where there are girls who drop out for less reasons, or they don't go to school, or they don't go to class, or they don't take their education seriously. There are still millions of girls right here in this country and other parts of the world who take their education for granted. Who look at the idea of access to free public education, which is what we have here in the United States, and they ignore it. They devalue it because they find other excuses, like my school isn't properly funded, or my teacher doesn't like me. I mean, or I just didn't feel well today. We have our issues here in the United States, but I want kids here in the United States and in other parts of the world to understand that there are girls that are willing to give their life. They are literally dying trying to get the education that many of us take for granted. And if we really want to honor these girls like Malala and like the girls in Nigeria and girls in Tanzania who would give anything to get an education, then the very first thing we have to do is take our education seriously and not take it for granted, to be that voice, because it's going to be up to the girls here to get that education so they can be the fighters and the champions and the policymakers and the next generation of world leaders who are going to make these changes. So this is one of the reasons why we can't afford to ignore this issue, and we cannot afford to ever take our education for granted. Education is critical here in the United States and any parts of the world. And going to high school and going on to college is critical. And I want young girls to understand that and to be as hungry for their education as these girls who would give anything to get theirs. We owe it to them to make that a reality.
Yeah. Yara, do you connect with that idea that in this country we do tend to take for granted the fact that girls are entitled to an education and a free one at that?
Definitely. I feel like we're definitely privileged in the fact that education is a given, that you will get an education. And so many times it's easy to say, I have so much chemistry homework, and oh my goodness, I'm taking 4 AP classes. What is my life? I don't have any time for myself, versus understanding. And I even had to take a moment to self-check to understand, like, no, I'm allowed to take these AP classes, and it's a privilege to take these AP classes because then it gives me the ability to then go to the college of my choice and the ability to then choose the career of my choice. And it's a conversation that I have with my friends because it's so unfortunate that you have to risk your life for an education in places around the world. And that's even a question, like, do I value my life and my education? The fact that you even have to think of those things is so insane. And so it's important, especially in areas in which education is a given, that we appreciate it and that we make sure that with our education we do the best to expand access and rights all around the world.
Well, thank you for that great question from Tanzania. I think we're all very impressed by your courage.